Hello, and welcome to The Successful Introvert, How to Confidently Grow Your Business and Your Bank Account, a weekly interview series where I will be interviewing experts on how to grow your confidence, step out of your comfort zone, and thrive in your business. I'm Erin Sum, confidence coach supporting shy and introverted women entrepreneurs to step past their fears of being seen and heard and into confidence so they can shine their bright, beautiful light, making a bigger difference in the world and their finances. Make sure to join the free Stand Up and Shine Confidence Challenge at erinsum.com/confidence challenge to expand your confidence and increase your income in less than 10 minutes a day. I am so excited to have Michelle Shaeffer with us today, talking about how to discover your unique brilliance as an entrepreneur. Hello, Michelle.
Hey, it's great to be here, Erin. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, so great to have you. So everyone, Michelle does so many things, and she is the creator of Lingo Dynamics and HookLine Dynamic app. She's passionate about helping mission-driven entrepreneurs build successful, profitable businesses that make a positive difference in the world. She's written 42 blog posts in a single day, mentored more than 15,000 bloggers through the Ultimate Blog Challenge and Extreme Traffic Adventure, published 1,000+ posts on her own blogs, and with blogging since 2008, she's made just about every blogging mistake possible and shares them so that you don't have to. Oh, good. A typical day in Michelle's life includes a lot of coffee, obsessive blogging and content creation, coaching fabulous entrepreneurs, working behind the scenes to support her awesome clients with their blogging and marketing, and sneaking in a little bit of sci-fi in there somewhere too. So excited to have you today, Michelle. So Michelle, tell us a little bit more about your business. I know you help bloggers and you do all sorts of other stuff. You work with empaths and yeah, tell us.
Okay. Okay. So that sums me up pretty well, the intro there. You know, my focus really is supporting entrepreneurs and figuring out how to take what they do and get it out there in the world in a bigger way. And a lot of that focuses on some of the pieces you identified, which is the language that we use, the way we communicate, because especially for empath entrepreneurs, a lot of the sales tactics out there just don't work for us because they don't feel good. Right. And if you're an empath, you're an introvert, you know, if something doesn't feel good, you're going to avoid it. You're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you're not able to reach people to get more clients so that you can do what you do so well. So a lot of what I do has evolved from, you know, it started out for me learning to blog, learning to market online, and then realizing, okay, there's this whole different way that you can approach your marketing that you feel good about it, your clients feel good about it, and your business grows. So really discovering how to put that into a system that other empaths could use to feel good about the way they sell their services.
Nice. I love that. So tell us just a little bit, for those that don't know what an empath is, give us like a couple of sentences about what it means to be an empath. And I know there's a lot to say about that,
but there is, and so many people define it so differently. I have the conversation with people a lot of times like, well, I'm not empathic. I'm not like that person on Star Trek that can like sense everybody's feelings. And what I tell people is really, it's a choice. Empathy is a choice to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand how they feel. And really, when we're at our best with clients, whatever we do, that is what we're doing, is figuring out, okay, what's their problem right now? What are they challenged by? What do they really want? And how do we help them get there? Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons that marketing, by a lot of the strategies and tactics we're taught, can be hard when you feel that is you understand how it comes across to the other person. You don't want to push them into a decision. You don't want them to feel like they're being bullied. And sometimes aggressive sales tactics, if you're sensitive, come across that way, right? It's why used car salespeople have the reputation they do. It's why you don't want to walk into certain stores. You know you're going to get, bombarded with somebody who wants to dress you up and sell you everything in the store. And so really, empathy is about making a choice to recognize and honor how the people around you feel about what you say and how you communicate and what you do.
Yeah, I agree with you. Great. Thank you so much for that. So tell us how you got started as an entrepreneur and how you got from there to where you are now. You have a great story.
So it's been a little bit of a journey. I actually started my business when I had just had a baby and was looking for something to do from home that I could make money because my husband at the time was in the ministry. And, if you know anybody who's in that position, that's not a real high paying job for most of them. And we had gotten in positions where there were literally no groceries in the house, and I had those moments of, I don't know what to do. And long story short, I just made the decision I'm going to figure out how to build a business so that I can make sure, my child has food to eat, essentially is where I started from. And when I share that with people, the reason I share it is because I literally started with no budget whatsoever. I couldn't even afford an internet connection. I was using and this is dating myself, but those free CDs they used to give out for AOL and Juno and all of those services. That's how I got online. Because I didn't even have the budget to spend $20 a month to get an internet connection. And from there, I managed to build my business to where it's at now. And so, I tell people all the time, when I say anybody can build a business around the skills and the gifts and the talents they have, I really mean anybody can do it, no matter where you're at starting out. But that's where I started out. I knew enough about the internet to know that it was possible to figure out something I could do online. I started out doing virtual assistant type work. I figured out, enough about websites and how to get that part of things done that I started bartering. Is where my business started. Actually, some of the first projects I did, I bartered for cloth diapers and baby slings and things that my son needed. And I got my skills to where then I could charge for it, and got into website design. Started doing that back before WordPress or all of that existed. And the challenge that I ran into was I would design websites for my clients, and they would have the website. You could click the button, send them money, but they didn't know what to do with their website to get people there. So they had a website and functionally it was great, but they weren't getting clients. And so I started really diving into, okay, how do we get you found? You have really cool products. I know people will love these. What do we do to get you noticed? And I started to learn online marketing. And I moved more then into teaching people as, social media was just starting to emerge. I was like MySpace and before everything else was around, and learning how do you find your people basically online and how do you get your stuff in front of them? And so I started doing a lot of social media and marketing training, and I discovered blogging. And I remember my idea of blogging when WordPress first came out, before it was even called WordPress, I started using it just to put articles online about marketing, because I wanted something that instead of answering the same question 52 times, I can point people to a link. I'm like, here, this is the answer. And then I realized I was getting comments on this blog thing, and people were finding me and wanting to hire me. I was like, I might be onto something here.
Wow.
And yeah, it accidentally worked basically. And from there, I started getting into, okay, if I've done it accidentally, surely I can, figure out the system for this and intentionally use blogging to get clients and show my clients how to use it. So that was kind of the evolution of how I ended up where I'm at.
Very cool. That's a great story. Yeah, because so many people say, well, I don't have any money, I can't start a business, or all these different things. And there's so many people out there who are so successful, who are living in their cars when they started, or living on the street, or different things, who had absolutely nothing. So I'm glad that you shared that.
It's one of those things that you just have to make the decision. And once you make the decision, you'll figure the rest out. That's what I tell clients all the time. You can figure anything out if you just set that intention that I'm gonna figure it out. There isn't a backup plan. This is gonna work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's a lot of women out there who either are already in business or they're wanting to start a business, but they don't feel like they have much to offer as entrepreneurs, or they aren't sure what angle to use, or what their brilliance is and what value they have. How do you help women discover one's unique brilliance as an entrepreneur?
So that's a really, really great question. It's something that it can be so hard to look at ourselves and see that value, because, it's everything from the way we're raised as children to, depending on what kind of culture you grow up in, how women are perceived, and it can be tough to step outside of that and really figure out where your value is at. And there's a couple of things that I remind women of when we're, discussing this topic. And it's funny because we tend to compare ourselves so much to each other. So I want to start a business coaching business, but there's 50,000 million other business coaches out there. How do I stand out? What's different about me? And the thing that I remind people of is you're what's different about you. You are what's unique. You have a story that nobody else has. You have a life journey that nobody else has had. You've worked through certain challenges. You've worked through certain obstacles and overcome them. And for most of us, our signature system, our unique brilliance is whatever problems we figured out how to solve for ourselves, we can guide somebody else through how to solve that same problem. And there are other people that are looking for that solution. So it's really just a matter of stepping back and looking at, who are you? What have you gone through in life that you can help someone else with? Because there's so much value in that. When you look at sometimes the things we go through in life, we see as things that we don't want to share, that we're embarrassed of, or that we feel bad because we made a bad choice. Everybody makes bad choices, or makes choices that could have been better, right? But those are the things that give us something we can help other people with. We can say, hey, I know what it feels like to be in this position. So let me share with you what I did that worked, or what I see I wish I had done differently, and here's why. And when we're open with other people about our story and about the successes that we've had as well as the failures, we can bring so much value and really shine a light on things that other people can't, because they haven't been through the journey and the path that you have. And as far as figuring out skills and talents, one of the exercises that I run through with clients a lot that is always really eye-opening for people is to have them be brave for like 30 seconds and send friends and family and people they've worked with an email that just says, what have I shared with you that's been helpful, and why? What do you see as my unique gifts and talents? And when you do that and you just ask people, what do they see in you? The responses you get back will amaze you, the way that others see the gifts and skills that you have that you may not even be aware of. And so I would encourage everyone to just 30 seconds. You just got to be brave for like 30 seconds to hit send on that message and ask people what they see in you, because it will come back. It's one of the things that I know women entrepreneurs especially tend to resist reaching out for testimonials. We don't like to ask for feedback. We get really nervous. We don't know what to say. But when we do that, having that feedback from people is so valuable, because they're able to express what we do in a different way. And it really helps, not just with identifying what your gifts are, but with staying energized and confident in what you do. So those are a couple of things that I would suggest for people who are trying to figure out, how am I different? What's unique about me? And what is my gift?
Yes, I love that. And that's really how I got to figure out my niche too. I struggled for a good couple of years before I finally landed on working with shy and introverted women entrepreneurs. And it was me who I wanted to, was women like me, and it took me so long to figure out what that was. And my brilliance comes from my story, right? Of going from shy to confident and doing all those things to get me there. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's something that I learned the first few times that I worked with coaches in different capacities in my business. I would get stuck on certain things. I'm like, why can't I do this? I see other people doing it. They give me the tactics they use and the hacks. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I couldn't do it. And when I started realizing, okay, there's certain things that, including the introversion part of it, that I need a different approach to this. And working with people who had been through that, who could say, okay, try this to calm yourself down first. And then it was like, oh, now everything works. So that, like you said, identifying that you have a gift because you are introverted. You understand somebody like me. You're not going to tell me, oh, just push through it. You're going to give me suggestions that are actually, here's how you can approach it that'll work for you.
Right.
It makes a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So I know you work with a lot of empaths. So can you give us some tips on, and many introverts are empaths, which I've learned recently, which is a good thing to know. So can you give us a few tips on how to market and sell as empaths?
Okay, sure. That's actually a really fun topic for me, because one of the ways that I ended up, I think I shared this with you when we talked privately, one of the reasons I ended up so interested in language and communication was a couple of experiences I had being sold to. I had gotten on a call with a coach who I'm sure was just following a script, which there's a value in scripts, so I'm not saying don't use them, but we got to a certain point in the conversation and it turned into, I felt like I was being attacked. I was being told that I needed to put something on a credit card. I didn't even have credit cards at the time. She accused me of lying to her about it, told me I would never succeed in business. And I know what she was doing psychologically was trying to push the right buttons to get me to say yes. But it had the opposite effect. I ended up so shut down that I nearly closed my business. I didn't think I could succeed. And when I finally, years later, got the bravery up to approach another business coach and had a completely different conversation where at the end of it, I had said yes to working with her. I wasn't even totally sure what I had just said yes to, but I felt great about it. And I was like, okay, wait, this was essentially the same conversation. It was, what are my goals? How am I going to get there? You know, the same types of things, but I felt so different about it. What was the difference in that? And when I started really diving into it and realizing that there are so many different ways to approach that sales conversation, and certain things just don't work if you or your clients are more sensitive, empathic types. It just doesn't feel good. And so I started working a lot around, okay, how do you measure the way words make people feel? How do you figure out those approaches to it? And it's funny you asked that, because earlier today I was on a call with my private coaching group, and somebody asked me, how do I have a sales conversation? I don't like telling people, here, buy this from me, give me your credit card. And so I shared a little bit with them that some of the approach that I use when I'm talking to people is, I don't necessarily look at it like a sales conversation, because it gets me, my heart rate goes up, I get nervous, right? And so I try to go into every conversation like that with the perspective of, my goal here is to figure out, what does this person want? How do they get there? What kind of support do they need? And are we a good fit to work together? What can I recommend to help them reach their goals? So when I go through a sales conversation with someone, we start with, okay, where are you at? What's working, what's not working? And I let them tell me what's going on in their business or in their life, depending on, you know, what you sell. Let them tell you what's going on, and then ask them, well, where do you really want to be? Let them tell you what their dreams are, what they want to see, what their goals are in life, what needs to change. And then help them figure out, okay, what are 2 or 3 steps that would move you the right direction? Can you see yourself taking those actions? And then ask, well, what do you see as being stopping points for you? Why haven't you done this yet? What kind of support do you need? And when they tell you, I'm looking for accountability, I'm looking for strategy, I'm looking for whatever they're looking for, if that happens to be what you do, and most of the time it will be, then you can say, well, given that that's what you're looking for, I'd love to discuss how we can work together and I can support you with this. And it's a totally different feel when, instead of you kind of pushing at them, here's my packages, A, B, and C, they say, I want this. And you're able to say, I can do that. So that's the first thing, is I would suggest you kind of change the way you're looking at that conversation. And really the only goal of it is to help them figure out what they want, how they need to get there, and what kind of support they actually need. Because if they could do it on their own, they would have already done it. So they're looking for some sort of help. And if you're a good fit, then you're being of service to them to make that offer. Because if you hang up the phone without saying, here's how I can help you, and giving them a chance to make their own decision, don't ever make the decision for someone else that they can't afford you, that they can't work with you. Let them make that choice. Because otherwise what happens is you've just left somebody who you know has a problem that you could solve stuck in their problem. And I know that's not what we want to do. So you've got to kind of shift the way you look at that conversation and at your role in it, because you really are just there to help be of service to them if it's a good fit and if you've got what they're looking for. So that's more of the approach that I recommend taking with people that are a little more on the empathic introvert side. You don't have to be in your face with people. You don't have to be the one screaming at them, you know, you buy this right now. You can say, what are you looking for? And let them sell themselves on what they need. And then you make an invitation that you've got what they need. It's a totally different feel to that conversation.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that. I've been in both conversations as well, and it feels so yucky to be in that conversation of, you have to buy my stuff or else you're going to fail, you know, and be pushed. And it's very icky to feel that way. And as empaths, that's how we get to feel. That's how we feel, you know, when we're sold that way.
It is. And the other thing to look at is, when you're sold that way and you come in almost adversarially, you don't get the same result, because it's not a collaborative relationship. You're almost scared of your coach, or you're scared of the person you're working with, and you're intimidated into it. One of the most important things to do, especially for empaths like us, when we are having sales related, I like to call them invitation or offer related conversations, is to help the other person see their potential. and help them believe in what they can do. Because if you can show them, here's what's actually possible for you, here's what I see for you, they come in inspired with faith that then they can go out and get a result. And they're excited to do that. So you end up not only with clients who are saying yes more often, but clients who are getting better results. And that's another piece that's really important for people like us is it's not easy to brag about yourself, right? You don't want to go, oh, I've won all these awards, I'm great at this, I can teach you this. It's so uncomfortable, right? And so one of the things that's important to have in your process is testimonials from other people, is case studies, is other people sharing what you're good at, which is one reason I mentioned earlier, ask for those. Because when you do that, and you could have on your website, in your process, before you get on the phone with somebody, send them a link to your testimonials, a page that says, hey, just wanted to share with you, these are some of the people I've worked with. I would suggest you take a look at it to see if we're a good fit. If you have some of these problems, you have some things in common with them, then great, let's have a conversation. And when they see other people explaining how you've helped them and what you've done for them, they come in a totally different place where you're not even having to convince them of the value of what you do. Most of the time, the conversation, you don't even have to ask. I rarely make an invitation to someone to say, hey, let's work together. Here's the options. Usually I get, do you have time in your calendar? How can I get started coaching with you? Because people are already sold on what I do before I ever get on a conversation with them. And that is such an easier sales process to have in place.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Those are some really great tips. And it's so important to connect with them and not just make a sales pitch, and to just feel like, you're supporting them. That's what you're there for, is to just support them in what they need. And if you're not a good fit, you're not a good fit, and that's okay too. You can maybe support them another time, or if you know somebody else who might be a better fit, then you can refer somebody.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I think is almost a superpower that empaths have that certain people don't see the value in, like empaths do. And that is acknowledging when somebody's a good fit to work with you or not, because when you can refer people to others, they can refer people to you as well. And so you get a totally different environment and community around people who approach life with that perspective.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Any other super tips that you have for us today, Michelle?
Oh, let's see, super tips. Oh, good question. So I think the biggest thing that I would encourage people who are introverted to do is really a couple of things. If you're introverted, you're empathic, there's certain things that are tough in business for you. First of all, be okay with who you are, because you have amazing gifts in other areas. And it's okay if certain things are a bit of a challenge. You can find ways to wire around it and still do the things you need to do. I mean, just a few years ago, I wouldn't have even been able to get on camera like this. I mean, I literally would be in the bathroom throwing up before I had to get on camera or on stage. It's things that you can learn how to work around and how to deal with when your focus is why you're here. And if you're here to serve other people and help other people, that gives you the courage to push through some of those things. But really, I think the biggest tip that I could give to people who are empathic, who are a little more introverted, is be okay with learning a different way to do business. Because you don't have to do business like some of the people you see that are very pushy, in your face. That's great. That works really well for certain personality types. Give yourself permission to be you and to find other ways to share what you do that you feel good about, and that you get excited about and want to grow your business doing, because your business will have an entirely different feel when you focus it on your strengths.
Yes, I love that. That was perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us how we can get in touch with you. I know you have your blog page. We were talking about that earlier. Tell us a little bit about that. Okay,
so you can find me at michelleshaeffer.com. It's MICHELL, 2 L's, SHAEFFER.com. And when you go, you'll find there's all sorts of different things there you can check out. If you're looking for ways to get traffic to your blog, if you're looking for blogging ideas, or if you're looking to learn more about how words make people feel and some tips around language and communication, you can find that as well. There's a whole bunch of freebies there and content for you. So I would would love if you would connect with me there. You can also find me, there's a connect button, send me a message, let me know you were on this particular episode and how you found me, and I would love to talk with you and find out more about what you do in the world.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being on. And how do people find you on social media as well? Do you have I know you have a Facebook.
I'm everywhere. You can find me. Yeah, if you go to my website, you can find all my social media links there. You can just go to Facebook, search Michelle Shaeffer. I will come up. You can also look up the Extreme Traffic Adventure. That's one of the ways you can find me on Facebook. I've got a group for that we focus on how do you find your people online, get them to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was really great having you on. You gave some really great tips and advice for our introverted empath ladies watching.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. So everyone, all the past interviews are on my website at erinsum.com/category/TSI for the Successful Introvert. Or you can just go to my website, click blog. There's a drop down with the Successful Introvert interviews there. So you can rewatch Michelle's interview and watch all past interviews as well. Thank you again so much for being on today. It was wonderful having you, Michelle. And everyone, we will see you next time.